When I launched this podcast 2 months ago, I had a mini dream to have a live event with a talented musician, and it's happening. And that feels really good. So thank you for joining me, Emma Rose. And thank you all for coming. And I think I know everyone here, but in case there's someone that doesn't know me or what I do, I'm a transformational coach, and I work with creative entrepreneurs and companies that are looking to raise their consciousness and looking for more meaning and purpose in their lives. And this podcast, The Imaginals, is part of my mission. And I've learned so much from doing this podcast. It was rather unexpected, actually. But in the process, I've learned that this life that we are given, is a gift and sacred. And that most things work out in life, maybe not the way that we expect them to. And I've learned that when we don't listen to our intuition, things don't work out as well. And I've learned that struggle and hardship is the bed or the groundwork for change and transformation, and leads to our wisdom and our resilience. So with that all said, I'm really excited to have you here, Emma. And up until this point, I have interviewed a lot of people that are in the back half of their lives. And that's been really fun. But I'm particularly excited tonight to interview someone who is 26 years old, a very mature 26-year-old, Colorado-based musician, and someone whose music and sound is really special to me. I discovered you on Instagram and reached out, and I'm just so glad that you said yes.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So over the past 14 years, Emma has supported countless artists, distinguished artists, co-founded the breakout all-female bluegrass band called Big Richard. And if you haven't listened to them, they are amazing. And she fronts her own band called Sound of Honey. Yeah, which blends this really beautiful, unique indie soul folk sound that is really distinctly your own.
Mm-hmm.
So, Emma, officially, welcome to the Imaginals. I'm really glad you're here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So let's start at the beginning. You were raised by two folk singer parents, and your childhood was steeped in bluegrass in Fort Collins?
I grew up in Iowa City.
Okay.
And moved to Fort Collins when I was like 11. So I feel like I'm both from Iowa and Colorado. There's a hair in my tooth. But yeah, my parents met in a folk duo with each other when they were very young and had me very shortly after they met. So I grew up listening to folk and bluegrass music and all kinds of music. My parents have good music taste, which I'm grateful for. But yeah, I grew up listening to them and just being surrounded by all kinds of music.
Yeah. And it sounds like, it was a family business, not just a hobby.
Yeah.
So how did that shape you?
They were very poor. Surprising that musicians don't really actually make that much money. But they didn't really have any level of like breakout success. They played a lot of bars and went on a lot of tours. And my mom had me when she was 23 and my sister when she was 24. So she had two babies when she was my age, which is wild to think about. But they did music full time for a lot of that, and it was not, it was a very rich life, but we were very poor. So there was a lot of stress that went along with that, that I think I subconsciously absorbed because I didn't really understand what was going on. But I think I always felt like having a full-time job in music was never going to be financially fruitful. I like believed that at a very deep level. And that's a really long question. I could keep going about how that shaped me, but I feel like you have more questions.
Well, you said something to me in our pre-production call that struck me, which is that you said, I chose music as much as it was given to me. And I'm wondering what you mean by that.
I think my dad was the one that was really like, you girls are going to play music. Here's a fiddle, both of you. When we were like, I started playing fiddle when I was like 6 years old. And my sister, I think it's nice to have the mirror of her life, because she does not play music anymore. And she, was handed a fiddle at the same time that I was, but I kind of like always stuck with it. And she was kind of like, I hate this. I don't want to do this. And, we always had freedom of choice, which is nice to have. But I kept choosing it over and over again. And you have to continually choose it over and over again for your whole life, really, with anything that you do, especially creatively.
Yes, so true. It doesn't just happen to you, especially in the music industry.
Yeah.
So about what time did your music start really feeling like your own?
I think, so I write my own songs, and I have a band called Sound of Honey, but I also play bass, and I feel kind of equally passionate about both things. And I remember the first time I played a note on an upright bass, I think I was 12. And so it was this huge thing. And I was a pretty big middle schooler. I think I've been the same size since like 6th grade, which was very awkward in 6th grade. But I started on cello, and I loved cello. It's a beautiful instrument, but I quickly got kind of bored of it. And then the bass player moved away. And so the orchestra teacher was like, well, if you're bored of this, we need a bass player. Like, do you want to move to the bass section? And so I tried it, and I just felt so powerful playing the upright bass. And I was the only bassist in the section for a really long time. So the whole sound of the bass section was in my control, which I really liked. And with that, like, the bass is such a supportive instrument, and it shapes so much of the sound of a song. And I fell in love with that feeling of like supporting what was happening sonically around me. And then with songwriting, I think I was like maybe 15 when I wrote my first song. And I grew up going to a bluegrass festival called Pagosa Folk and Bluegrass.
Anyone gone to that? Okay.
Which it's no longer a thing, which is sad. But I grew up going to that in the summers. And there was one summer that was very coming of age for me. I like smoked weed for the first time. I discovered I was kind of gay. And all these people sat around the fire, like people that were teenagers. And I think I was, preteen. But I was like, whoa. They played, like The Head and the Heart and Elliott Smith and all these songs I hadn't heard before because I'd played bluegrass and like orchestra music my whole life. And I was like, this is so cool. Like, people are just writing about their feelings. I'm going to try to do that. And so I started writing songs in a very angsty time.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
So what was the main feeling that you were writing around?
Oh, gosh. My high school life was very tumultuous and traumatic for a lot of reasons. That's a big question.
I have it. I have it right here.
Okay.
Yeah. That was a nice segue, actually.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah.
You go on.
No, back to the songwriting, though.
Okay. I, at that time, because this was only 10 years ago, I had a smartphone. So I was 15, 16 with a smartphone. So I still have the voice memos in my phone of like the first songs I've ever written. And it's so wild to go back and listen to them. And some of them are really like cool. Some of them are horrible. I mean, and that's not, you can't really measure that stuff with music. Like you can't go horrible or good or bad because everyone has different tastes. But the freedom that is conveyed in those songs, but like, because I had never thought about doing it as a full-time career. And I had never played in front of other people. I hadn't experienced like the outward affirmation yet. So I was creating just completely free of any boxes. And so it's really cool that I had a smartphone. I mean, for a lot of reasons, it was not cool. I really don't advise giving your kids smartphones. Ever, really. But it's really cool to see that transformation. And I think with all art forms, like looking at older versions of what we are creating is so illuminating to what we do now and like, you know, how we've changed, but also how we've like shied away from certain things or gotten, you know, in my case, like I've gotten very, I don't know, like I think a lot about what other people want to hear, you know, or see, because I paint too, not actively. I have painted historically. But it's, yeah, and I know this is a larger topic that we're going to get into. And I could just really keep going, so you should ask another question.
Well, you mentioned a traumatic time in middle school.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you mentioned that you gave up playing the banjo at that time because you were bullied.
Yeah.
And I'd love just to hear about that pivotal moment of giving up an instrument to belong.
Yeah, I think that we moved a lot when I was a kid, so I don't have like any childhood friends because I moved from Iowa to Fort Collins when I was like 11, and then I moved schools. I went to like 2 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and 2 high schools. So I had a lot of like changing social dynamics, and often when you're the new kid in a school, especially in middle school, it's hard to not get bullied. I'm laughing. It's a serious issue. But I, you know, and I was a girl. I wanted to like be in the cool kid club. And I got very bullied about many things, and girls just are horrible to each other. Kind of all the time, like systemically we have that problem happening. But in middle school, it's awful. And I played the banjo, like Scruggs style 3-finger banjo, bluegrass.
Was that not cool at the time?
Well, I didn't think it was cool because what was cool was like being sporty and, you know, for some reason, it was cool to wear basketball shorts or like a polo t-shirt and like your hair pulled back into like a long ponytail with a rubber, like a band, like as tight as you could. And being the size that I am now in 6th grade, that didn't look very good on me. So I was like trying to be sporty and trying to be all these things that I wasn't. And I was like, if they find out, I'm already getting bullied. And if they find out that I play banjo on top of that, I'm going to get extra bullied probably. So I quit. And it's something that I regret because I play a lot of bluegrass still. I love it. But it would be so cool if I shredded banjo right now. Like that would be the coolest thing ever.
There's still time.
There is, totally. And it's somewhere in there. I took like 2 years of lessons. And I do pick up the banjo every once in a while.
So what did that experience teach you?
I think in general, I have really, it's an ongoing forever process, but I've really started to just figure out what I like and care a lot less about what other people think of that. But that's an ongoing journey, like following your own path, not comparing yourself to other people. Like that's just a forever thing. Um, but I think there was a moment in high school where I realized that like my friends were talking badly about my other friends to me. And I was like, wait, you guys probably do that about me too. And then I was like, I don't want to be friends with you anymore. Like I had just this realization, and I was in choir and orchestra, but I was always like running with the sporty kid crowd because I was like, didn't want to hang out with the nerdy people. But then I started hanging out with those people and I was like, wow, you guys are like real, you know? um, but I don't know, I think that was like, it's an ongoing lesson, and I didn't learn it at that time in any way. But I definitely, I think, would say like, don't give up parts of yourself to fit into boxes that you don't naturally fit in, because then you lose those parts of yourself.
Beautifully said. Are there certain tactics that you use now as you're creating that helps you block out the noise?
That's still one I'm trying to figure out. It's really hard. Um, because in music, and any time that you make your creative hobby or art your career, it's so focused on the marketing part of it because you're marketing a product. And so you have to turn your art into a product that is marketable, which is inherently putting it into some kind of box, especially in the music world, like the way that TikTok and Reels have turned making music into what is going to grab people's attention in the first 5 seconds of a video. It's like, it's really hard to create and not think about that stuff. I don't have a TikTok and I suck at making Instagram videos. I am 26, but I really don't know how to use my phone. But all of that, I don't create with that stuff in mind, but it is there. It's inherently just like in the rhetoric of everyone's life right now,
Who else can relate to that that's creating right now? Yeah.
And it's sad, but it's also a really great tool for us, we're able to see the music that people are making across the world and connect with, I play a lot of festivals and I play bass in a few different bands. And a lot of my closest musical friends live in other states or in other countries. And I can just like call them, or see a video that they post and be like, feel close to them in a way. I'm burping too. I'm just a person. I did it again.
You were mentioning when we talked, you mentioned COVID being a real moment of relief for you because you got to check in with yourself to decide why you were creating and who you were creating for.
Yeah. I think that was COVID was a horrible time for so many people and very, very tragic for so many people. But I was very fortunate to have, a dad's basement I could move into. And, my career actually hadn't really taken off before COVID. So I actually didn't cancel that many shows. It was kind of a really nice, just like, it wasn't nice. Obviously, it sucked in a lot of ways, but I had to ask myself the question of like, what do I even like playing guitar if no one is around to hear me play guitar? Do I even like singing songs if I don't get, a clap at the end of it, or if I don't have a show poster to put on my Instagram page, and I really, it was a good time to ask that question because everybody else also was unable to play shows. So there was no FOMO happening, which is a huge part of taking breaks in creative work, is the fear of missing out or like comparing your path to other people's paths and feeling like you're behind. And COVID was just a really uniquely good time to take a break and really sit with like why it is that I do what I do.
And what did you discover?
I do love playing music.
Turns out.
Yeah. But it is interesting to talk about that time and think about it because I think this past winter I've been trying to do something similar because I quit Big Richard like a year and a half ago, and that was a very successful band. It got very successful very quickly, and it was kind of like an accident project. I had that idea when I was like 19, and I just moved back here from Austin. And I was like, I want to start an all-girl bluegrass band. And then I did. Well, we did it together, but I was like, guys, this is the group. Like, we have to do this. And it just like rocket shipped into space. And it wasn't the right thing for me. And it really kind of set me back because I did it for like 2.5 years. And we toured like 150 days out of the year. We were flying all the time. And
weren't you also at the Telluride Bluegrass Festival?
Yeah, we played
in your first
Telluride.
year?
Yeah.
Nice.
We played Telluride like 6 months after we became a band. It was crazy.
That's pretty unheard of.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. And we all were established musicians in our own rights before the band happened. And we all knew Craig Ferguson, the owner of Planet Bluegrass. And he came to one of our shows and was like, wow, you guys should really play Telluride. And then we were scheduled to play 10 a.m. on Saturday. And then Elephant Revival was going to have their big reunion. They were going to have their big reunion show at Telluride that year. And then they ended up backing out for personal reasons. And they moved Big Richard into their slot, which was 7 p.m. on Saturday night after the Punch Brothers, before Sam Bush.
Wow.
So, and we crushed it. Like, it was they're still a band. They have a new bass player. They're still badasses.
I think what's special about watching Big Richard is how much fun you're having on stage.
Yeah, totally. And it was just like 4 women who we spent our whole lives playing with dudes in the bluegrass scene. And it just felt like all this pent up energy. And it was so awesome and powerful. And so we crushed it, and then obviously got a lot of success from that crushing. But it was really fast and it was a lot, and I came to realize that it wasn't the right thing for me, which was a really hard decision.
How did you come to that decision and trust your gut?
I think there was a lot of my gut that I was ignoring for a while because it was really good money. And, like I said earlier, I never thought I would make a living playing music. I didn't know that was possible.
That's what we call a limiting belief.
Yeah, totally. But even before Big Richard, I discovered that I could make a lot more money than my parents did, because I'm a bass player and a harmony singer. I'm a very hireable person. But I think really what happened was just the ache in my heart and my life became too great for me to ignore. And I mean, honestly, it did. I ignored it so long that it did damage to my life. And, my relationship suffered, my friendship suffered, my mental and physical health suffered. I was just never home, and I was unhappy when I was on the road. So at a certain point, it was just a big call that I had to make, and it was very clear to me. So I quit. And the reason I brought this up, though, we can go more into detail about it later, but the reason I brought this up is because this past winter, I quit a year and a half ago, and then last year I went through a really big breakup at the beginning of the year, which kind of felt like, the Big Richard breakup and my personal relationship all at once. Full on, like, I have no idea who I am or what I'm doing or why I'm doing what I'm doing.
That sounds like some really rich material for some songwriting.
Oh, yeah. I'll play some of those later. But last summer, I picked up a bunch of random gigs and I did so many fun things, but I feel like I didn't really sit with myself at all. So this past winter, I intentionally, like, I've kind of stopped really playing with Sound of Honey. Not because I don't want to, I do want to, but there are a few reasons why I don't play very much. But I kind of just needed the time to be a human again. And so often my humanness and my worth is very tied up in what I'm doing creatively, in my creative job, my success, like how I feel as a person. So I was trying to like be with myself this winter and do the thing I did in COVID. But it's way harder to do it when everyone else is out doing things,
Producing.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the work that I'm still doing and will do forever is like, how do I stay on my own path without feeling like I'm falling behind, Because everyone else is a different age. Everyone else is doing different things. But Instagram has made it really, really easy for us to compare ourselves to other people. And, you can measure if you measure your own success on how many likes or follows you're getting, which I don't think anyone consciously does that, but unconsciously, the dopamine that you get from that is like, wow, I feel great today. I don't know why. I posted a video and like, I'm a great musician today. And then like the following 3 days as that wears off, you don't post a video. And so you're like, I'm a horrible person. And I don't know. This is the roller coaster that I go through.
People can relate.
Yeah, it's just, we have like a drug in our hands at all times, and it's super normalized. And we're kind of the test subjects of this, When I was in high school, there were no books out about what smartphones did to the brains of developing teenagers, And now there are tons of books out about that, which is great that that's happening, but we're all addicted already,
The anxious generation.
Yeah. And it's so hard to balance the tool with being a human without the tool,
Yeah, and you're also pointing to a few things. It sounds like, and I don't know a whole lot about the music industry. I'm not an expert, but it seems to me that in order to be successful these days, you have to tour.
Yeah.
And you also need to make an album in order to tour.
Uh-huh.
And I think you mentioned that costs $20,000, like at minimum, to an investment in order to create an album. So not only is there a barrier to entry, but then you're really on the road for quite a while. Mm-hmm. And that sounds just totally unsustainable.
Yeah. There are a lot of ways to do it, and a lot of people have found sustainable ways to do it, which is awesome. And I love playing bass for that reason. I love playing bass for so many reasons, but I get to just go be a part of someone else's business that they have made and be a part of it, and experience touring at a higher level than I would ever do myself. Well, not ever, but like at this point. And, the genre worlds are very different too. Like I play bluegrass music and indie Americana music. So I play upright and also electric bass. And those genres have a lot of festivals happening for them, which keeps it very sustainable to tour because there's actually a lot of money in those genres for some reason. People love dancing to it, which I love that. because that's how I make my living. But in the indie world, in like your own, whatever genre you do, if you write your own songs that are not in, I think, honestly, bluegrass and jazz are the only, no, not jazz, bluegrass and folk and Americana are kind of the only, and like jamgrass are the only festival genres I can really think of. Because, obviously pop music and then indie artists go into that, but you have to be very famous to reach that level. So in the indie world, the barrier to entry of like making that much money or playing a festival is so high. You have to be like, Phoebe Bridgers, Sabrina Carpenter level.
Wow.
So with my own music, I don't know. I really have to stay with like, this is not for money. This is not going to be my job. That's another reason why I play bass, because that's my job and I love doing that. But when you write your own music, it's really hard. Just like when you create your own thing, I'm sure you guys all look like entrepreneurs to me.
What gives you that impression?
I don't know. Everyone just has really nice clothes.
Very stylish crowd.
And all your teeth are really white. But anytime you create your own thing, you're starting from scratch. You're paving your own path, right? It's not already paved. Whereas the bluegrass, jamgrass thing, like that's already paved. There are festivals. You can just go be a part of that. And not anyone, but you know what I'm saying. But when you create your own thing, it's a lot harder to get it off the ground. And sadly, like, money is a huge part of that. Like, getting yourself off the ground requires finances. And, in the indie music world, it's very much making an album, which you can do DIY, and that totally works, and a lot of people are really good at that. But the streaming services are all effed up, and it's just, you have to love it. You have to completely love it to do it.
Yeah, and it sounds like that love of music has to be greater than the fear of disappointing people or not being liked.
Yeah.
Or putting out something that isn't your best work.
Totally.
And to that end, I'm curious to know, you have been very vulnerable in sharing that this has been a stagnant creative season for you.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that, because I think we're in stagnation far more than we're actually in flow, and more than people would like to admit. And I'm curious to know how you stay connected to that spiritual self, that creative flow with all the noise that you're mentioning, and given just how difficult it is to break in.
Yeah. I smoke a lot of cigarettes. Oh, not funny. I'm not joking. I do, but that's not how I stay in touch with my spirituality. That was a joke. I think that stagnancy is part of the flow. And a big part of that for me feels like being in touch with being a human on the planet. And that's something that gets really lost, especially when I'm on the road, and just playing a ton of other people's music and sleeping in a different bed every night and taking planes and cars, and like, it's just really hard to remember that you're a person.
And when you say human or person, what do you mean by that exactly?
A skin bag, a little flesh bag walking around on this rock, floating in space, that needs to sleep a lot, that needs to eat a lot, that needs to experience like love and human connection, and good books and video games, and a cigarette or wine or sex. Like, there's all these things that we as flesh bags need. That's a very unflattering term. But like our human bodies is what I mean. Like our bodies and our spirits need things other than being successful or
to thrive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's really easy to get just like to our society is so focused on go, 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 produce, 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 market this thing and put your face on the internet and like, I don't know, it's all measured and it's because of the phones. Like we're all in the same treadmill because of the phones. But before phones, like people were just doing that stuff because it was fun. I'm very jealous of Joni Mitchell, like living in the 60s, like.
Me too, for other reasons.
Oh, yeah. I mean, in every way. She also smoked a lot of cigarettes.
Maybe we should all just smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
I want to share this Rick Rubin quote because it's apropos, and it wouldn't be a podcast about music if we didn't share a Rick Rubin quote. But he says, living life as an artist is a practice. You are either engaging in the practice or you're not. It makes no sense to say you're not good at it. It's like saying, I'm not good at being a monk. You are either living as a monk or you're not. We tend to think of the artist's work as the output. The real work of the artist is a way of being in the world. Mm-hmm. So to that end, what is the way that you want to be in the world as a musician?
I think at my full enlightenment, like I'm so...
Is that going to happen in the next 15 minutes?
No. But like in an ideal situation, like my perfect, there's this book that I read called The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. It's really, really good. And they talk about making your body kind of like a hollow vessel for the light of consciousness to flow through. And Rick Rubin in The Creative Act, because that's what that's from, he talks about a similar thing of like the creativity will flow through you if you are open to it. And there are so many things in this world that block our receptivity. Is that the word? Reception? You know what I mean. Our antennas. Whether it's like eating foods that we're kind of allergic to, or not moving our bodies ever, or staring at our phones all the time, which we all do, And I think as a musician, I really just trail off. Podcasts are hard.
You're doing great.
You're all looking at me. I think as an artist, like it's the same thing as life, I think. Like, yes, we can learn talents and skills, but spirituality, creativity flow through all of us naturally. Like we are all creative and spiritual beings. It just is a matter of how receptive we are to those things. And that is my life's work, because I have so many vices. Did you know I smoked cigarettes? And I think there's a lot that distracts me from my spirituality and my creativity, and I think they're both totally intertwined with each other. So I ideally would like to get to a place where I am in touch with my spiritual practice, so much so that I am creating on a regular basis without thinking about what other people are thinking of that,
You mentioned something that I want to circle back to, which is also this idea that struggle begets flow. And we talk a lot about flow in my coaching practice. And I think it's a mistake to believe that we can tap flow at any moment without having that pre-struggle. It is one of the 4 steps of achieving flow. struggle or challenge, and then release, and then flow, and then recovery. And we need to honor all 4 of those steps. And that sort of angsty, not sure I'm getting it right, wrestling with things is what actually I think creates that activation energy that allows for the release to happen and then the flow to occur. Well, I think that is a great place to wrap.
Wait, I want to answer what you were saying, though.
Okay.
You didn't ask a question, but I have more to say.
You can comment.
Well, I just have this quote that I thought of. Who wrote Eat, Pray, Love? What's her name?
Elizabeth Gilbert.
Are you all entrepreneurs? Okay. That's so funny.
Big magic.
Oh, man.
Oof, that was a good one.
There was a quote, some interview that she did, I listened to a long time ago. And it was after she released Eat, Pray, Love. It was so successful. Afterwards, she was like, I don't know how I'm ever going to write another book again, because that was so successful. I can't ever top that. And so she talked about like how she was showing up to her creative practice. And she used the analogy of like the little walk thing at the airport, like not the one that goes up, the one that just goes flat, that a lot of people just stand on. I stand on an escalator. I do.
It is curious.
I don't walk up an escalator. I'm like, there is no way I'm doing that.
I've heard that only 20% of people take the stairs.
Yeah, wow.
Ever.
I walk a lot in my life otherwise, and I travel a lot. So I'm like, all right, this escalator is my moment to just be with myself.
To be human?
Yeah.
Okay.
But she talks about creativity and like those bursts of inspiration that we get as those walkways, but they don't just appear under your feet. You have to take the steps to get to the walkway. And with that, I think of The Artist's Way, which is a great book. They talk about doing pages every morning. And that's just like wake up in the morning and write 3 full pages of nonsense, whatever you're thinking. And that just helps take a step towards the thing. And if you show up every day with a pen in your hand, the thing will come through you if you're there. But if you're not there, Rick Rubin says the idea will go to someone else.
You sort of preempted my last question, because on every episode, we ask guests to share a reference or a book or a quote, a song.
Whoa. And
So
I did that already.
You already did it, but you could add another one if you choose. Specifically, what might you recommend someone who's in a transition or feeling stuck creatively, who's in a rut?
Like what they read? Does it have to be a book?
It could be anything. It could be a practice, a resource, cigarettes.
Yeah, just smoke 5 cigarettes a day.
We do not.
The Imaginals is sponsored by American Spirit.
We're just teeing it up.
Just kidding, everyone. I'm joking.
We don't condone smoking on this podcast.
I do think that journaling, that one that I just brought up,
Great.
like the pages in the morning.
Morning pages.
I notice that when I'm not doing that, I am doing worse. And when I do it, I do better. So, and it's just a great way to get the wheels turning, and if you're a painter, if you're a visual artist, make a little picture every day, like just do one thing that's creative every day and be like, I'm not going to show this to anyone. It doesn't matter. That's a really great exercise, I think, for just getting the wheels moving.
Our friend Emily Canova calls it start to start.
Yeah, exactly. Show up on your mat. I do yoga sometimes. Working on it.
Thank you so much for
thank
sharing your
you.
wisdom with us tonight.
Finders and Youngberg, they were called. But they're like an Americana roots bluegrass band. But he's really good at writing story songs. So his songs, like, from the beginning to the end, there's a whole story that happens, and you can follow it. And I don't write that way. And I am totally fine with that. But because of that, and I love that style of writing, it's just, it's really hard for me to write poetically and tell a story without being too on the nose about things. But because of that, I don't really have much to say about my songs. I don't have any like story as to why I wrote them. And that's why it's cool that you guys heard that whole podcast. Because really, all my songs are just my whole life. And I can't really tell all of that in between songs. But I think they're all kind of a accumulation of feelings that I've had throughout my whole life. I've been in a lot of relationships. I'm young, but I've been in a lot of like serious relationships. And so when I write a breakup song, it's not about the particular breakup of the person. It's about all the times I've felt heartbroken, and they kind of just compound on each other, and you learn more and more each time. But this is a breakup song that I wrote last year, but it's not about that person. It is about that person, but also everyone else that I've felt heartbroken about, which is also friends and bands, and it's definitely in the guise. I don't think that's the right word. It's in the form of a partnership. Here it is. It's called What Love Was. The clouds broke today, but I don't know why. It's looked like rain the past 100 times I've looked up. I've forgotten that song that I knew before. It must have walked out through the changing door. The books are all covered in stains and dust. I thought I knew what love was. I thought I knew what love was. My coffee's cold. This table is too big, and it's getting old. I am a fool, and it's all because I thought I knew what love was. 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 Thank you. I've never had these before. Imaginals is sponsored by Little Saints. I just really want to do an ad for you. You know, like in a TV show where it's clear that they're like, drink this. I really enjoy it though. I'm also drinking alcohol. But these are nice. I've told a couple people now that, like, when I'm drunk, I just want more and more alcohol. And I can tell if there's not alcohol in something. So if I drink a bubbly water, that doesn't work. I'm like, no, I need alcohol. But this, I think, would trick me. It would trick drunk Emma into thinking I was continuing drinking, but, like, not feeling so bad the next day. Cheers. Yes. Wait, who? Whoa. I'm so honored to be here. This next song is super new, and I haven't really played it for that many people yet, which is exciting. I've been in a period of stagnancy a little bit. I mean, stagnancy sounds like a negative word, but it's not. Oh. Sorry. Those are carbonated. How do people, like, I don't know, like, the culture that, like, burping is rude and that you shouldn't do it, I don't know how those people, like, how do you burp? How do you secretly burp, or do you just not burp? I want to know. I love burping, though. I never want to stop. It feels good. Well. In a period of stagnancy, when I feel disconnected from creativity, when I do write a song, it feels so rewarding and good. It's like, whoa, I haven't lost it, and it's totally tied to my worth, my value. But this was one of those songs that just kind of came out all at once. So I'm excited to share it with you. Be still. You don't have to move. Do what you will. This life is yours. You are a flower in the spring. You are everything. You are the apple and the tree. I am you and you are me. I am you and you are me. Tip of my nose is red, just like the cherry. I don't want to be wed, still got a lot to know about me. You are the spring. You are everything. You are the apple and the tree. I am you and you are me. Take your time, you'll be fine. We've got the time to be together. Let's be together. You are everything. You are the apple and the tree. I am you and you are me. I am you and you are me. Thank you. I think I love you guys. This next song has kind of a happy vibe. So weird. I actually I play this festival called Baja Grass. Do any of you guys know Scotty Stoughton, who puts on Winter Wondergrass? Yeah. I do all those festivals. He's such a great dude. He does Winter Wondergrass, and then he does Baja Grass, which is in Baja, Mexico. And then he does River Wondergrass, which are these raft trips where we get paid to go out and play for a raft trip of people. But I did Baja Grass last year, and I got back, and I was about to go on a river trip, and I was like, I really need like a song that is not so depressing feeling. I'm sorry. It's carbonated. I'm going to burp. And not that it's depressing feeling. It's just like a really chill vibe. But I was like, I want a song that's kind of more uppy. So I wrote this song. The chorus is very repetitive. If you feel like singing, you can. And don't be scared of what other people think of you. My heart, it froze in the winter of last year. Didn't know when it would thaw. Now the clouds have parted and the sun had appeared, warming out the fall. The flowers blooming out my front door, each one reminds me of lovers past. The grass is greener on my side though, the winter never lasts. The winter never lasts, and I miss you so, so I'll let you go, and we are having a good time now. We are having a good time now. We are having a good time now. We are having a good time. If birds still sing through the changing days, then so can I, though my heart it aches. Biggest beauty comes from biggest pain. Blue skies will come again. Rain will fall, but the river flows. Clouds will cover the sun. Behind them she still surely glows. I am my only one. I am my only one. And I miss you so, so I let you go, and we are having a good time now. We are having a good time now. We are having a good time now. We are having a good time. Oh, we are having a good time now. We are having a good time now. We are having a good time now. We are having a good time. That was great. That was great. I got goosebumps. And I almost started crying. I cry all the time. I love it crying. And burping. Yeah. No. No. I sat on this high chair because they said that they would have to adjust the camera angles, so I couldn't sit in a lower chair. So it's a little like reach for me to get my tuning pedal. No, it's fine. We're all so close now. But I do have to tune my guitar into a different tuning now, so I'm going to talk about something unrelated. I have been listening to the book series, A Court of Thorns and Roses. One person? It is categorized as fairy smut. But I will say I started listening to it because I was like, all right, that's exciting. I'll get into that. But there's really not as much smut as I was hoping for. But the story is so good, and I am a huge fantasy nerd. I love all fantasy things. I love sci-fi. I love video games. I love Magic the Gathering. I love Dungeons and Dragons. Huge nerd. But I've been listening to that book, and I am at a very intense part. Not sexually, but there's a big battle happening. And I was listening to it on the way here, and I was just weeping in my car. And then I came here, so I'm glad we had the podcast, because I did that yesterday. I had a show yesterday, too, and I listened to the book the whole way there. And then I got there, and I was just like, I guess I'll play a song. I don't know. Like, there's just so much going on in the book. It's very serious. Here's another breakup song. They're all probably about breakups. They're all like a mix of breakups and life and all the things we talked about. I'm so glad that you guys already know. And none of this stuff is released, too. So we're having just this special moment that could never be redone in the same way. I'm very grateful for that. Thank you all for being here. I know that I only know like one of you, and that you all came for Ashley, but I'm so grateful that I am here to be a part of this. I really am. After the sun sinks out of the sky, you are you and I am I, dreaming of a world so high above the clouds. All of the walls are paper thin. Come on, baby, let me in. How do you know where to begin with a brand new day? And all I see are smoke clouds. All I feel is your love now. Lost in the haze, I'm not playing my part. I'm trying to find my heart. Opening windows, shutting doors. I am not who I was before. Making the room for so many more things. Untangle my wings and set me free. These eyes have so much left to see. Because of your love, better me again. And all I see are small clouds. All I feel is your love now. Lost in the haze, I didn't play my part. I'm trying to find my heart. My heart. After the sun sinks out of the sky, you are you and I am I. Thank you. I just have like 3 more songs. This is so fun. I'm having a lot of fun. I feel very comfortable. This song is about folding socks, but also about trying to be your best self and stuff. I'm gonna burp again, I'm sorry. Okay. I'm folding socks on a Friday night. What does it mean to me? I wanna call you up, but we just fight, and that's losing its novelty. My time has turned to sand, and it's falling fast. And all I do is watch it go, 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 go. My laundry's in the water, washing away. Been dirty for too long, too long, too long. It's time to make a change, time to let go, time to move on. Time to do the dishes, time to fuck up, time to get the words wrong. Time to have a party, time to cry at that party. Time to figure out what is meant for me. The doorbell's been ringing for days, and I can't be bothered, 'cause I'm just folding, folding away, folding away. It's time to make a change, time to let go, time to move on. Time to do the dishes, time to fuck up, time to get the words wrong. Time to have a party, time to cry at that party. Time figure out what is meant for me. I'm folding socks on a Friday night, and I am content to be. And I don't call you up, 'cause it's not meant for me. Thank you. Oh. Imagine how that sounds with a full band. So much cooler than that. I'm having a great time. I really am. No, I'm not. I don't know who said that, but no, I'm actually having a great time. Tuning again. Have you guys heard of the new corduroy couch pillows that have been making all of the headlines?
No. What is that?
That's the whole joke. You have to think about it. Headlines. Corduroy. Yeah. More people got it at first, though, than usual, and I think it's because you're all entrepreneurs. You're smart and good at stuff. Oh, this song is a really big collage. Bookmarks, man. I gotta do it. It's a really big collage of a lot of things, but it's called My Age. And at the end, I have a line that says, "My age is growing on me." I'm gonna burp again, I think. It's just right here. It's the bubbles. Oh, no. Oh. There it was. But you'll hear it. Here's the song. Wait. Okay. Here you go. All over, I want you. All over, I want you. How do you know what to say? How do you know what to say? I want you all over. I want you all over. The moon was out last night. I'd like to shout, but not to fight. Not There's a man at this bar who looks just like me when I'm tired and aware of time passing my age is growing on me. My age is growing on me. My age is growing on me. Thank you guys so much, for real. Thank you so much, Ashley, for having me, and Stone Cottage Studios for filming this. This is so sweet. And all of you for being here. Really, so sweet. I'm going to play one more song. Thank you. For letting me burp and get the frogs out of my throat, and we're all just flesh bags. I'll leave you with that. This song's called Big Blue House. It's about all the same stuff. Leave your light on, I'm coming right over. We'll talk until dawn. You can lay your head on my shoulder. You can lay your head on my shoulder, shoulder. Ooh-hoo. Ooh-hoo. Talk about the coffee shop and all the people we used to know there. The scene stood still, but we never stopped. Do you remember the girl with the red hair? She's having a baby now, and on the corner of 5th and Main, she bought a big blue house. You said, doesn't that sound plain? I'd rather be caught in the rain. I'd rather be caught in the rain. Ooh-hoo. 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 Watching the sun sink below, with the whiskey memory on my mouth. She's a friend like I've never known. You've got the biggest ears, they feel nice on my shoulder. And even after all these years, I'd like to get to know you. I'd like to get to know you. I'd like to get to know you. Ooh. Someday I'll buy a big blue house on the corner of 5th and Main. Isn't that what this is all about? I guess it doesn't look the same. I guess I'm caught in the rain. 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 I guess I'm caught in the rain. Ooh. Thank you all so much. I'm Emma Rose. My band is called Sound of Honey. Hopefully I'll see you again someday.